Okay, so we're here at the Matheson Courthouse, 3rd District Court. Just had our 60B motion heard before Judge Carapettit, and Gal did a phenomenal job. I was astonished with the Attorney General's office, how, I guess, blatant they are in denying basic access to records. And it's nothing new for us. We've been doing this for 2 years, and it's just such a pattern of obfuscation, and you'd think at some point that they would get the message that that's not how government is supposed to work. So I was very grateful to Judge Pettit. She ruled in our favor on 2 of 3 of the motions, and it was a big win for us.
It was a big win, and it's a big story. So some people, if you've been paying attention to this, we wanted to view the signature packets for Spencer Cox. We had concerns that he didn't have enough signatures, which it turns out were legitimate concerns. 2 audits or 3 audits have showed that he was short. We wanted to see the packets, and then we found out there was a criminal investigation going on with the packets. And Michael Clara found that out through, there was an investigator who went to some people's homes and said, this is July of 2024, so the primary was in June 2024. And an investigator showed up, showed them a packet and said, this is Spencer Cox's packet. Is this your name? Is this your address? And those match. Is this your signature? No, this is not my signature. And there were several people, the whole neighborhood had people on it like that. And they were concerned. The investigator left her business card with them, which had her name, the case number, had all the information about this case, and then that ended up with Michael Clara. So that was last year. Meanwhile, we were in court trying to get the packets, and Michael, independent of us, was looking into it, and he thought, I'm just going to do a GRAMA request, find out what's going on with this investigation. Clearly, there's an investigation going on with the Attorney General.
And I think maybe I misspoke because I said we had a big win, but really it was Michael Clara's case, and it's Michael Clara's win. The interesting thing with Michael is he started in a whole different place, and we've just come together on the same, I guess, platform of truth. Can we tell the truth in Utah? And what we're finding is deep collusion and deep corruption. I would call it fraud. The judge wasn't willing to go that far to say that it was fraud, but anybody that was listening to the case has to know that this was knowingly, intentionally withheld from a citizen, Michael Clara, who had every right to, at least to be told the truth. And I think Gab made a good point there too. It's like they could have said this is an investigation and you can't have it. But what they said is, oh no, we don't know anything about
we can't find anything.
This case. There's nothing responsive to your request, which is a lie. And from the Attorney General's office, the Attorney General, Dan Burton, is not supposed to do that. They're supposed to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm. Started with Lonnie Pearson, who denied it. Then he appealed it to Dan Burton, who also denied it. Then he tried to take it to the State Records Committee. They didn't even schedule it. And I don't think that's ever happened to him before, that the State Records Committee wouldn't schedule a case. And they changed, through this request, they changed his request and they changed the wording on it, which wasn't accurate. But he had asked for the investigator. He knew the investigator's name and the case number. And they said, we can't do a reasonable search and find it. They never even talked to her, the investigators, what came out in court.
Well, the only reason he had that was because of a whistleblower.
Exactly.
So had the whistleblower not come forward, thank goodness they did, we wouldn't be here today because we wouldn't have had any idea that there was even an investigation that had taken place, even though he had asked for records, denied, and now we find out not only are there records, but there's a very significant investigation going on that should have been at least disclosed.
Right, and you want to be able to trust your government officials, and when they say something, you want to be able to trust them. And in this case, he asked several times, went to court, and they also lied in court. This was last spring, and it wasn't until this whistleblower came forward, like Phil said, it was this fall that they came forward and gave Michael this document, which is about 200 pages long, detailing this whole criminal investigation into Spencer Cox, which started well before the primary, back in March of 2024, and it continued for I think it was for several months that it went on. But when he asked for one of their arguments today, is they said, you're asking for a document that wasn't finished by the time you asked for it. And the judge did a good job saying, well, wait a minute, it started back in March, so there clearly was a document. And there was a lot of wordsmithing that they were trying to do to try to confuse the issue. But I thought the judge did a pretty good job seeing through it.
I think the one thing for most people in Utah that are paying attention to this, and the reason this has energy that keeps going is because people, they just recognize it on the face of it. On the face of this is lying to citizens. This is government lying and talking, and then we get the cases and we find out it's not just an important case, but we get the communications between the people that are choreographing their responses to delay and deflect and deceive and all of those tactics that they're using against people. And most Utahns recognize that that's happening, and they don't appreciate being lied to.
Exactly, yeah, and Gav did a good point. He made a good point. He said that we should be able to trust our Attorney General's office, so the chief law enforcement in the state, and if they're not going to fulfill GRAMA requests properly, then other agencies will think that too. So it's important that we raise these issues. And so next steps now, so she granted the motion, she granted the Rule 60B motion. So now the next steps is with discovery. So that's another battle that we can take on. But we could, and Michael, if he wants to do that, to go forward and ask for, do a motion for discovery, because really the public needs to understand what was going on behind the scenes. Why did they collude? Why did they hide this information? Why did they, if it hadn't been for the whistleblower, we would not know this information today. And it's been over 15 months of them hiding it from us. So that's next steps, but.
I think it's phenomenal. We have so many people who out of the interest in this whole case, nobody's getting paid. We have an attorney that's getting paid, but everybody else is they just want to be treated fairly. And we have, I guess, a movement that won't stop. And I think that's what's driving it. Is people, they have eyes, they have ears, and they're seeing it, and they're hearing it.
We want to be able to trust the system, trust processes, and I think so.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, everyone, for paying attention and fighting these battles with us.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.